of success and only so few. No, there's success for everyone in different ways at different times. And I think for me, that's like to answer your first question, that's the most important reason why success is important. I mean, abundance is important. Is I think it makes us better human beings. Because abundant people,
that's so true. That's so true. It does make us better human beings because, like studies have been done of like kids who were born around the time of like the Holocaust and what is it? The Night of Stars. What is that? That
Night of the Long Knives.
Something about stars though, because the glass was shattered on the ground. Something.
I don't know about that. I thought it was the Night of the Long Knives, where but that was more about the Nazi Party itself. It wasn't so much about all of Germany.
What was the Night of the Long Knives?
The Night of the Long Knives is just where like people within the party started turning on each other, and one side took over another side by basically killing it off.
Jeez. So anyway, basically studies were done that women who were pregnant in those times when there was scarcity, those kids, when they grow up, they did like lifelong studies basically to see like how did they behave, how did they react, and it basically like a scarcity mentality followed them like lifelong, and it also was accompanied by stress, anxiety, all kinds of like mental health and physical health issues as well, you know, from something that happened before the kid was even born.
But it's what we were saying earlier, or the kids are aware from the time that they're in the womb already, or for instance, we were talking about a child and how it seemed that their personality had already been like sent, or they had already been steering their personality in a certain way from the time of 3 years old. And that's what we're saying. And also to add to what you're saying, we don't even have to go as far as Germany. Like, if you look at the years 1985 and 1986 in our country, right? It was the time of the township riots. It was a worldwide recession at the time, you know? So, like...
Sanctions imposed on South Africa.
I don't know if that started then, but that was coming. But basically, it was a time of danger. It was a time of danger. So, of course, scarcity was like imprinted into the DNA, and maybe it goes further back than that, but I'm going to speak about the years that I was born because I know it. Like, when it came to logically, there was no reason for me to explain why I felt like I don't deserve everything of the best, because logically, from the time I was in school, at school I was one of the smartest kids at school, so it would seem, or in this society, I'm made to make it all the way, but I couldn't shake the feeling of, but maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not as, I don't know, smart as these other kids, even though my marks were saying different, right? Maybe I'm not as popular as these other kids, even though I have all the friends in the school. And that's exactly what it is that something that hits you subconsciously before your conscious even form, or form to its fullness. And that's why it still hits you where you live.
I'm actually now remember that Outwitting the Devil. So that
Wait, but that's a book that you're reading now. Who's it by?
Napoleon
Or an
Hill.
audio book that you're listening to. Is it Napoleon Hill? Interesting. We're just talking about Napoleon Hill outside, but we'll pick up on that when we talk about authors and things like that,
yeah. So like with that conversation, it's you know, it's like a conversation between like the author and the devil, and basically interviewing the devil and asking the devil what the devil is about and why, you know, the devil exists. Have you listened to it?
No.
Bro, white privilege is real,
it's
fam.
so cool. Like, you guys
White privilege is so real. V, do you think you could make a book right now where you're talking to the devil, asking the devil questions? Do you know how quickly you'll get cancelled, dog?
Yes.
You know how quickly you'll be in a mental asylum, fam? First, we're gonna pray for you.
Yes.
Like, every church is gonna come out and be like, I would like to pray for the brother of you where he has clearly lost his way.
And that is
That's quite interesting. But I mean, like, I would expect the church, whether you're white or black or whatever, to have a very adverse reaction to that. And Napoleon Hill endures as being one of the most revered best-selling authors in the self-help space. So that's quite interesting. That's
no, but where's the interesting part? It's white privilege, dog.
It's not white privilege. That's where the information is hidden, right? So the conversation actually and I feel like everybody should actually listen to the audio or read the book.
Sure.
Because what he then says, like in that whole thing, is that okay, the devil deems with himself as this like the negative energy, right? So let's say abundance is like God and this the positivity is the universe, right? And then the devil is the opposite of that, right? And the devil is not this, the image that the churches and everyone else in the media have like put in our heads, thinking that the devil is this monstrous thing with a knife that's gonna come and whatever, right? It's not that.
It's just the absence of God.
Yes, it's the absence of like
Light,
abundance,
of
positivity,
abundance,
wanting to work
everything that
and
we
doing the work.
associate with God.
Exactly. And then the
That's
devil
deep.
is fear, all of those.
And
like,
everything that makes you feel the absence of God in you.
exactly,
Wow.
And he says, going back to your point, so the devil says, with kids, like kids are his like most important
Truth.
yeah.
Playground, like
yeah, because
he's-
that's how he goes from this generation to the next. Because if he gets you at a young age, let's say 3 years old, like that fear, maybe your parents are operating at that like scarcity
level of fear, sure.
yes. Then you overhear something, and then that fear is imprinted, or
in
the
you.
church scares you, and you believe, oh my gosh,
That's
the devil is
so
going to come
deep.
get me. Then it's a
He's
thing
got
that
you
is
for a generation.
yes, and then he's got you because that fear is.
Right, now
stuck
you're
in
gonna
you.
grow up and you're gonna teach your kids the
You're
same
gonna
thing.
exactly, and then that's how he like I will get you. But then what does he call it? He says you are in a state of I can't remember the exact term, but what he calls it is that when you are operating in a space where you're stagnant, basically you're not doing anything, you're not moving because you're paralyzed by fear, basically, So he says when he has you there, that's
Then he's got you.
he's got you.
That sounds a lot like depression.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, like, so maybe depression is one of the devil's favorite illnesses to put out there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it feels like when you're depressed. You feel like there's a lack of everything. There's a lack of motivation. There's a lack of ideas. There's a lack of energy to do anything. There's even a lack of an appetite, from whether it's for food. Okay, I know some people eat more, right? Yeah, but there's your hunger for life shrinks for some of us, where you don't even want to go outside because it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna get more disappointment, more failure, more heartache. So why even try? Yeah.
And that's where he wants you, because he says when you're there, then you're not gonna do anything. But then the interesting thing is that, like, because then, the interviewer will keep asking more questions, wanting to know, okay, is there any way that, a person is able to get out of that, right? And then his answer is that every person actually does have an opportunity to get out of that mindset. The most important thing is for the person to choose to want to get out of it and actually work towards getting out of it, And that means like a complete shift.
Balancing that faith and work thing.
Yeah.
True.
If you are surrounded by people that operate at that same level, then it means you getting out of that and then going somewhere where it's a complete like new start for you, where you have to, you're reprogramming your mind, basically, So, but it's possible. But a lot of us are like, we don't have the will to do it because we're like, what is life going to be